Welcome to Kevin's Barbershop. Today we have former NBA and former NFL players. That's from Flint here. Flint is home to a lot of NFL and NBA players. You'd be surprised the guys that come from Flint. That's Jeff Greer, Charles, Eugene Mars, Bobby Durrett, Norm Bryant, Justin Dickpin right there. Jeff Greer. Yeah. Well, I knew him by Jeff. Jeff played with Milwaukee. Jeff played with Milwaukee Bucks. Eugene played with Buffalo. Bobby Durrett played with the Jets. Norm Bryant is a historian around here. Norm Bryant Barbershop. That is the guy there. He know everybody. That is the man there. Justin Dickpin played with the Pistons. And you hear from Barbershop Talk. This is Barbershop Talk. Mr. Dickpin.
Yes, sir.
What year did you play with the Pistons?
Man, we started some years ago.
Yeah.
19, I come out of college, young man. I graduated college in 1969. So, the Pistons was actually the third team I played with. I played in the ABA, the American Basketball Association, with a team called the Carolina Cougars and Pittsburgh Pipers. And some of these old timers like him, they would remember. They would remember guys like Connie Hawkins was on that team, the Pittsburgh Pipers. And then they sent me over to Europe, and I played in France for a year. And that's when I come back here and played in what we call the CBA. That's where I met a guy named George the Iceman Gervin in the CBA. And then from there to Detroit Pistons and Kansas City. And that was just the gist of it, you know. But it was all good, you know. I made a little chump change out of it. Got an education behind it. My dad didn't have to pay for my school. So, you know, basketball was good to me. Plus notoriety in this city in which I live.
Right.
And everything y'all heard about me is good. Y'all ain't heard nothing bad about Big Pen, you know. So the basketball was good to me, and you know, I always tell people, and Jeff can attest to this, if you can get in the pros and make it, you know, that would be one of the most enjoyable things, because you're getting paid now for something you did for free all day. You know, you played this in the playground and at team club, now somebody gonna give you a check. So I tell young guys all the time, you know, but it's only gonna be a certain percentage that's gonna make it to the
Doing what you love. Doing what you love doing.
Didn't have no problems going to practice because I like playing the game. And practice didn't last but an hour and a half. You got the rest of the day to do what you want to do. All day do what you want to do on game day. You know, just be on the table. When it's your turn to get wrapped up on your ankles, you know, and traveling, being with great guys that everybody in here read and know about. I was sitting with Will Chamberlain, and he act like he been knowing me all my life. And I know it was first time, you know. He let me shoot a layup. We was playing the Lakers. I did something to Gail Goodrich, and Gail Goodrich went one way, and it was a playground move, you know. And I went the other way, and Wilt was standing there, and he's 7 foot. 7 foot, more than 2 maybe. But he and I had talked around shootout. You know what I'm talking about. And so I went in, and he didn't even bother me, but he told me, he said, all right, little fella, don't come back. And I said, yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, and let it go. You know what I mean? But ball has been good. You know, I'm in 5 Hall of Fame, you know, and that's, what can you say? You know, I've enjoyed it. I've had a good run. I appreciate things like this here. So it's great.
We do this every month. We do do it every other Monday.
Yeah.
Kevin's Barbershop.
Yeah, and I will try to get some other old timers out.
Well, we're gonna come back and do the NBA and NBA a year from now. Come back and do it a year from now. And,
Okay.
not this month, but the month after, we're gonna be probably doing something with the kids.
Okay.
We're gonna try to do something today with a couple of the youngsters also. At the end of this year, we do ask the youngsters what can we do as men here in Flint to help them succeed.
But I want to say one other thing. You know, guys like Mr. Gray over there.
Yes, sir.
See, guys my age, you know, we like to think that we kind of paved the way for them. You know what I mean? They kept the torch going for Flint now. That's what I'm talking about. For Flint. You know what I mean? And that's always good. And see, it's guys after them, you know, that's gonna keep the torch going. Flint should be a hotbed for a long time. These guys continue to be those that are dedicated to the sport, football, basketball, whatever.
Right.
You know, we've always been a hotbed.
Right. Mr. Jeff Greer.
Yeah.
All right. When did you play with? What year did you play with Milwaukee?
Well, I graduated from Iowa State in 1988, and I then was drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks. I stayed with the Bucks for roughly 4 years, and after I left the Bucks, I went over to Golden State, and I played with the Golden State Warriors for another 4 years, and then I went from Cali to Philadelphia with the 76ers. And one of the guys you might know, Justice, Mo Cheeks.
Oh, yeah.
He was on the coaching staff at that time, coaching me. So I was there in Philadelphia for a season. Then I went from Philadelphia back to California to Sacramento, played a year there, and then I finished my stay in Golden State again for a 10-year stay in the NBA. So I agree, first and foremost, Justice, Mr. Thigpen, he definitely paved the way for a lot of us who came through Flint. Flint has been on the hotbed for sports for a long time, and Mr. Bryan can attest to this, that there were two things that we were known for with this city. The automobile industry, obviously, and sports was probably, I say, sports surpassed the automobile industry because we just had so many people to come out of here. And the list, just a few of us in here in this room today, but the list goes on and on and on and on with all the athletes that come through. And not only that, they have a lot of us have excelled to a high level, and that says a lot about a small town like this. It says a lot about not only the player itself, but the development, the grassroots development that happened in this city, you know, from the community school programs that was involved all the way up to the coaches. And one of the guys that I tip my hat off to was my high school coach, Mr. Grover Kirkland, the late great Grover Kirkland. He has so many of us who have come through Northwestern and basketball as well as football, and he really taught us not just about basketball, but also the game of life and character. And we all talked about how sports builds character, but it's the people that's teaching the game that helps you build the character as well, because they talk and teach about how you should conduct yourself on and off the court. And Mr. Kirkland was, he was a man's man, a gentleman's gentleman.
Kirkland was my baseball coach when I was like 5 years old, 7 years old. Yeah. Oh yeah, Grover Kirkland. Yeah.
So for me, basketball the love of it started at a young age because I was a student of the game. I watched a lot of the Northwestern Wildcats come through. Guys like Trick Tucker, Barry Stevens, Pye Walker. The list really goes on and on and on. That first 1975 team that went to the finals and lost with Eric Harvey and those guys on it. And so, I knew about those guys, and I dreamed about one day bringing Northwestern their first title. And we were successful, our team, to do that. So, talking about character, this city has had that. Sports has developed that in this community. I'm proud to say that I'm from Flint. I'm a Flintstone for life, and all these guys in here probably will say the same thing. I'm really proud of that.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Eugene. Eugene Myers.
Sir.
Eugene Myers played for Buffalo. But Eugene probably been to a couple Super Bowls, huh?
No, I was out of Buffalo by the time the Super Bowls came around.
Okay.
But I did go to Garfield,
Okay.
on to Emerson, and on to Northern, 78, and went to Saginaw Valley State University. At the time, it was Saginaw Valley State College when I went there.
Okay.
It was an NAIA school, Division III, and I was actually the first player, third round pick, to be drafted or play professional football from that school. And from Saginaw Valley.
Saginaw Valley. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so in '82, I was a third round pick and went to Buffalo and stayed there for 6 years. And we had some rough years.
Oh, yeah.
But unfortunately and fortunately, I was traded to Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 1988 and played there another 4 years.
Okay.
And then we went Plan B free agency in '92 to San Diego. So I played another year in San Diego, wrapping up an 11-year career in National Football League. And one of my big encouragers was right here from this town. He's been gone for a little while now, but not very long. We can forget him, but Booker Moore.
Oh,
He
yeah.
was from Southwestern, went to Penn State,
Okay.
and he was Buffalo #1 pick the year before I got there.
Okay.
So I already had a Flintstones in place when I got to Buffalo,
Okay.
showing me the ropes. And I remember one of my first mistakes I made was Chuck Knopf was our coach, and he said, "Marvin, let me see you in there and play with the first team." And of course, the reporters attracted some attention, so the reporters came to me in the locker room and asked me, "You think you can start?" Well, I told them I always start. Of course I can start. That's why I come here. And that was a no-no. And so Booker worked himself over to me the next day in the cafeteria and just schooled me on, what not to say and what to say, as a professional. But Booker was one of them people who I draw a lot of energy from. And, when Buffalo pretty much traded me to Tampa Bay, Booker said, Marv, you got to go on and have another career in Tampa. And I played another 4 years. I thought I was all done after that. But Booker was a great encourager. And ever since then, I respected Southwestern. I didn't like Southwestern much. We never beat them in high school. We never beat Southwestern. Something about the blue and white.
Okay.
We wore red and red.
Yeah.
Something about the blue and white. So Buffalo Bills colors were red, white, and blue. And so I put that blue on. I actually thought about Southwestern. I said, now I can incorporate me some coach football in my play. And it was a dream come true. But it was a dream that I didn't plan. It was I was doing all the things that it took to become a professional football player. I was eating and I was sleeping and I was lifting the weights, but I never planned to go pro. And one of the ironies of that was it was the Flint culture of being the best. Not only the best when it was when you got a helmet from Flint Northern. That was a symbol of pride.
Well, let me catch you 1 minute, Eugene. I worked out with you one time in the swimming pool. We was at the swimming pool working out. And you used to be working out in the swimming pool and jump out the swimming pool onto the landing there. And I'm like, damn, this dude jumps in and out the swimming pool. And he just jump in and jump out.
Well, a lot of people don't know, but I swam in junior high school and high school. I was part of the swimming team in them years. And I can't say that it helped me out with my football at all. I almost died on swimming team. Football, you just stop and put your hands on your knees and bend over the rest. But in swimming, you can't really do that.
Yeah.
But it was our culture here in Flint, that the kind of culture where you go down on Sunday afternoon after the games, you would go down to Burston Fieldhouse and we would just play football there. And keeping your shirt on, not getting your shirt ripped off. So we would rip your shirt off and tie it around our belt. Meant that I got your shirt, And so you would try to get somebody else's shirt. And but it was just the pride of competition. I put my first pants on. I wore a size 28, believe it or not. When I put a pair of Mont college football pants on, when Mont Community College ran a football program for youth. I think I was, 12 years old in the 6th grade, and I used to go down to Emerson or Northern, and I would get my pants and wait in line early on a Saturday morning and put my pants on, and we would practice for an hour or two. But it was just a beautiful culture to go on and to develop in. And so, I think I got my best football in, at Burston Fieldhouse, and because I was playing with my older brothers. And when I went against guys my own age, I was able to handle them with no problem. And Saginaw Valley was a small Division III school, but it was a good place for me. It was a place that allowed me to develop. We won the first championship there for NAIA school in the GLIAC conference, conference that had Ferris State, Wayne State, Northern Michigan in it. And Frank Muddy Waters was our coach. He was a Hall of Famer from Hillsdale College, and he went on to Michigan State to coach them for a year. And when he left there, Saginaw Valley, I was in my junior year, he asked me to come with him to Michigan State, and I was scared to death. I said, oh no, I think I'm gonna stay right here. But I always thought it was good to be a big fish in a little place than to be a little fish in a big place. And so, yeah, exactly. So I was able to, be that big fish in a little spot, and I was able to, you have to play. You have to play, you have to be seen, and if you waiting in line to play, you ain't being seen. And so, Saginaw Valley was the right place at the right time for me. And, before the draft in 1982, they told me I was going to get drafted, and I'll get just enough to buy me a Riviera, and I'll go back home from Kent. And I was supposed to be an 11th or 12th round pick, and the draft day come around, I ended up being a 3rd round pick, and so a lot of excitement started then. But there were Booker, he was able, he used this lawyer and able to negotiate my contract, and Southwestern High School, and went from there.
Oh yeah, I remember Booker Moore.
Yeah.
I remember Booker Moore.
Great man.
Oh yeah. Bobby Durant. Hey, what's up? Played with the Jets.
My story is a little bit different from everyone's. I didn't attend college at all. No, not at all. My dream was to play professional football, and that's what happened to me. I followed my dreams. I've been around a long time. Mr. Bryan was my mentor as I was coming up at Garfield years ago when I was a little boy, and I really appreciate him, what he did for me and my brothers and other boys was at Garfield. He came and gave his time up, for me, even though I had a father and a beautiful mother, but he showed up on the scene, and made it happen for me, man. Taught me how to come out of blocks, took me places where I haven't never been before, and that meant the whole lot for me in my life. And just to stay pinned, these guys, I came after these guys, you know what I mean? And they inspired me, man, and motivated me when I watched him. I was a young guy when he used to play for Northern. Probably I ain't that much younger than him, but when you're young, they older than you. So I watched that man. Play, man. Mr. Bryan and other guys in my life, and sports was my thing, right? Went to Garfield, as Gene mentioned, Emerson, Northern. I played a lot of sports. Wrestled, AAU state champion, Olympic champions, all that. I learned how to kick field goals, punt, pole vault, high jump, all of it, because I lived down the street from Northern, right? In Burston Fieldhouse. And when I moved on Pasadena, my eyes just gloomed with sports, right? I was in sports heaven. And Francis Bentley was my mentor, Mr. Bryan was, and just a whole bunch of guys, right? But football was my dream. I did this on my own. I went to play for professional football so bad. The way my life went, I didn't go to college, right? So I went straight to the shop, but football was always on my mind, right? Professional now. And football, right? And I stayed in shape. I played flag football. Mr. Bryan was there when I played flag because he was a ref a lot of times when I was there, though. And a lot of people inspired me, Gail Sayers or whatever. I just love sports, right? And football was just my thing. So the time got a little short when I played semi-pro with Flint Sabres, was a star at Flint Sabres football at wide receiver. And pro was always on my mind, right? So what I did one day, I said, the time is getting short, brother. Your dream is, coming, but you got to work on it, right? And I sit down one day and wrote every team a letter in the NFL and trying to get a tryout, right? And the teams wrote me back. I wrote back. It was 28 teams probably back then in the 70s or something.
28.
And 28, maybe 25 or something close to it. Sent them all back. Some didn't have no tryouts, some did. So I done been to 3 teams, right? I've been to tried out for Dallas Cowboys, but it was just a publicity stunt to me. But thousands of guys was just there or something, so that didn't work out. So I went to New York Jets on the Lou Holtz, man, and did my thing there as a little mini combine, right? And I ended up signing with New York Jets in 76. I ended up signing with the New York Jets as a kickoff return specialist, a punt return specialist, and a wide out with one of the fastest times in football, 4.4 at the time when I was playing, right? And also I played with New England Patriots also. But that was my dream. I loved it, and I got there, and man, I thank God for it, because man, that was my dream. When it's your dream, baby, and you walk in your dream, man, I mean, it's a beautiful thing. And a person could do anything if they put their mind to it to do it. And so that's what I did, you know. It was hard though, but that's okay though, because I already knew in my heart that I was a professional anyway. You know, I knew me, you know, so that's what I did though, you know. So it was a great thing for me, you know, and I loved it. My family was behind me, and everyone else was behind me. So that's one of the things that I really, you know, I'm proud of myself that I did all this on my own though, man, you know.
That's good. Okay, Mr. Norm Bryant. Mr. Norm Bryant from Bryant's Barbershop. Norm Bryant's Barbershop has been around in Flint for a long time. I didn't know that till I saw him on the news giving his barbershop away. Sold his barbershop to a young man. And I kind of want to be like Norm. Norm, you do the African American Museum, right? Hall of Fame. Hall of Fame.
You know, let me just say that I was listening to Bobby do here talk, you know, and let me just say this: if things had been right during the time he come, I had him ready for high school. He was ready, fastest thing to play. No, but what happened? One of the coaches didn't like him. See, when the coach don't like the word spread. See, he should have been Northern's fastest athlete. Okay. See, when I went to school back in the 50s, matter of fact, I played for Dan Devine. Now, Leon Burton led the nation in rushing back in 1957. They wouldn't even let us play a Texas team to go to the hotel because we had 5 blacks on the team. And Dan Devine, he said, come on, put my team back on the bus, we're going back. So they let us play, so we broke the barrier. But the bottom line is that, and all this stuff that we're saying right here, you know, this needs to be told to the young folks.
Right.
And that's the reason why, see right now, I organize the Atwood Stadium Museum. Now do you know that we have 12 players out of this area played in Super Bowl? 9 of them are black. 9 of them. And the NFL on the 50th anniversary gave each high school the guys that played from Flint. High school got a gold football. I done found 3 of them. There's 3 or more of them out there I got to find, because some of these schools are closed. Because I'm going to put them in the museum, okay? But the bottom line is this, is that we need to talk about this, and I'm glad that you're doing what you're doing. We need to tell this to our young kids. Right. They don't know what we went through. Right. I used to have to drive about over 1,200 miles to go to school and couldn't even get a motel.
Because you was black.
Because I was black. Had a big sign up there that said vacancy. We driving up there and they say, well, back then we were colored. We don't serve color. See, I done been colored, been black, been Afro, I done been it all. But the bottom line is this, is one thing that I will say this, they talk about Trump, but Trump telling it like it is. Because when he say fake news, we had fake news in 1776. Because they said all men are created equal. That's a lie, that's fake. We have fought for everything that we've got. And when I listen to Thick Pen, when I when I listen to Bobby do that, see, I came along before them. See, I had it even worse.
That's right. Yeah.
But we didn't stop. We broke the barrier. Now, I quit playing basketball. They say, well, I didn't quit. But I had other sports that I could play.
Right.
And if the coaches had took a little time in some of these, like Bobby do, even myself, I couldn't even, the only way I got out to Arizona because I had to call my coach at Michigan State, and he referred me out there to it because the coach that I had back down, he didn't care nothing about us, man. That was sad. But see, hey, they've always had the help. They've always had what they needed. But like I say, I appreciate it, and if anything you guys can do to help in the Hall of Fame, help me in this Hall of Fame. I've got a kiosk over to the public library, and I'm going to end by saying this. It's got a touch screen over there. You go over there and you put Eugene's mom's name on there, everything he done in sports are going to come up. But I want one at Bishop Airport, I want one at Sloan Museum, and I want one up at Burton Fieldhouse. These kids know how to touch. They know how to do this stuff now.
B.B. Nolan was supposed to come here tonight.
You see, you know, I talked to BB. I don't know if y'all ever seen that picture up there at Burton with Carissa Shields?
Yes.
I put that picture up there and I told BB, see, sometimes you guys know who to call. I said, BB, he said, well, we need a picture up here of Carissa Norman. I said, well, okay. Well, I figured, well, he in politics, you ought to be able to get it. So I said, I'll get you a picture. I made one phone call. The guy said, no, how much is the picture? I said, $1,500. He said, I got you. Just on the phone call.
Right.
I said, BB, all you have to do, son, is I'm gonna put the picture up there, put some lights on that tonight. That's been 10 years ago, ain't no lights up there yet.
Yeah.
See, I'm like this. If you tell me something, don't crawfish on me.
That's right.
Bobby did tell you that. If I tell you something, I look for you to. My father told me, your son, your word is your bond. And all I'm asking you guys to do, help me with this Hall of Fame.
Right.
And help make some donations to this thing. You know, we put on the thing, and Dick Vitale, and I'll end by saying this, Vitale, he told it all. He said, Flint is noted for producing cars, but they got a similar line of athletes that you wouldn't believe.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Amen.
So yeah, we can sit there and talk. I'm like Charlie Walker now. Talk is cheap, but it takes money to buy good whiskey. Yeah, we need some help.
So I wouldn't know.
Yeah, we need help.
Yeah.
And I'm begging.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna keep begging till I die.
I hate it. Can I add something more on what Mr. Bryan was talking out there? Right. You know, I don't know what the things Blacks was going through as an athlete when you was there. I can only imagine. Because when we came after them, I know how rough it was. You know, it's hard to be an athlete and go to practice every day and you beating someone, but because of the color of your skin, you know what I mean, that's gonna hold you back. And back then, we were young and didn't understand what they were doing. At 17, 18 years old, you think, well, the coach knows what he's doing, you know? And, but what they were doing was keeping us, and I was telling this gentleman here, and Brother Hodo, that they were trying, and I'll go to my grave, Mr. Bryant, on this one, trying to keep us out of college.
Oh yeah.
You know, because they would have athletes that couldn't play. And the athletes that could play would be on the bench. So if you walked in from the University of Michigan or Michigan State, and you looked out there on the floor, and you saw 4 football players starting on a basketball team, 4. And the other guy was a 6-foot guy that couldn't touch the rim, but you looked down that basketball bench. So we used to beat them up. The first team, all the time. You know, guys on that first team, some of them didn't even know what a jump shot was, man.
Jack,
you know, yeah, couldn't dribble. How you gonna play basketball? You can't dribble. Coach told me, he said, well, we were going with size. So I said, well, what you rather do is go with size and lose, you know, or go with talent and win. Northern High School at that time wanted size and getting whooped. Jeff Graves School, when we first played them, Northwestern, they had a guy named Leroy Blasingame.
Leroy, Blast.
Blasingame, all right? We went to elementary school. That's how long I've been knowing him. But he went to Northwestern and Central, and I went to Northern. So we playing now. We got a guy out on the floor trying to check Leroy Blasingame. He got his ankle screwed up. Boys on the bench, ain't nothing wrong with him. Nothing. Coach was nothing wrong. Your coach. But it's been so many guys that were college material, but never got the opportunity because they never got a chance to get up off the bench. I was lucky.
You're right.
A guy that was in front of me, I was beating him up every day in practice. Every day. And I tell him, I said, come on, blank, blank, get your whooping. He went and told the coach himself. He said, Coach, I don't think I should be starting. I ain't never started nothing in my life. And he turned to me and said, you're going to start Friday night against Pontiac. And Mr. Bryant, who Mr. Greg can attest to, Pontiac Central always had a heck of a team. So he thought I was going to fall on my face. Then he had a reason to put me back on the bench, but I fooled that white man. You know, and the rest is history. But yeah, I piggyback on what Norm was talking about on that.
I want to say something as it pertains to all of this, Brian, you said, and it's great to hear all of you talking about, talks about the evolution of what's happening in our college, and what's happening through sports, from Mr. Brian years to Mr. Bob. This was all going on. Everything that has happened, how the community has evolved. We talked about things that transpired at that point in time. We talked about how basketball, football, and all these other sports have been good to us. We started talking to Mr. Brown, Mr. Brown, about something that's kind of interesting. We need to talk about youth, outside.
That's right. We got to do it.
You got to be able to, in my opinion, Mr. Brown, meet them where they're at. And in order to get there here, you got to meet them where they're at. Now, if you want to know the new sport in today's game, it's survival. You ain't basketball in Flint, football, go to these schools, and go look and see how many basketball players, how many football players actually on the team. Go look, I went up to one of the games, drove out, you know, the kids probably about this size right now, you know, playing against out in the suburban schools and all the big kids. So all of our kids are not even in school. They're not even in school. They're not getting education. So the name of this game right now, the new sport, is survival. And how do you get there? That focus on some of the things that we're talking about. Getting a good education, going out to college, or taking a trade. Now, you don't necessarily have to go to college. You can find a trade. Because what we're dealing with right now is killing, stealing, and robbing. It ain't sports now, okay? And like I just said, the new sport is survival. So these young kids, and what's in their mind now, it has absolutely nothing to do with, we don't give a shit, excuse my French, about who Jeff Bray is, who Justice Big Ben is, or Mr. Brown, okay? It's about survival. So the question becomes to this man, how do we get re-engaged and get into their line of business, into their realm of living? Because you're going to have to get it with them to change the mindset. We have a construction company called pt3. In case you guys understand what's going on with the water situation, we're one of the only minority. We are the only minority company. We're the only local company that has came, and what we have done is we've hired second chances, people who have been incarcerated and come back home. We've got them and we said, look, come on with us, man. We're gonna teach you a trade. These dollars that you're getting from the state, from federal government, we're gonna get these dollars and we're gonna keep them and recycle them in our community. We're gonna empower you so that when it's time for you to leave us and go out and get another job somewhere else, okay, you got a skill to take with you.
Right.
Okay? And leave sports, guys. and it's talk about life skills at this particular time.
Right.
So it's no longer, it doesn't matter about what I've accomplished. Yeah, shit, Iowa State, Olympic, that means nothing to the young guys. So how do I get them back re-engaged? Just feeling good about who they are as a man or as a woman. And in order to do that, we have got to empower them, and you got to go meet them where they at.
But you know one thing, Jeff, and I don't want to take up this floor, but I want to say this much. How many of you know about the new charter school they built in Flint? We got a Board of Education sitting back there and don't even have control of the school. It's right in the city. And if they can't get in, they got to go by the lottery system, so it's opened up to the county. So half of our Flint kids, the black kids, ain't going to be able to benefit from it. But we sitting there letting that happen. Charter school, I bet you don't even know about it. That's going to be the state-of-the-art school. It's right over in the cultural center where they got use of the Sloan's, that's right, Sloan's Museum, they got use of the art museum, they got used to all of that stuff. But the board, the CEO of Sloan's Museum, is made up of all of these people. And like Jeff was saying, it ain't all about sports anymore, it's about competing. And we have to do something. And every time I hear that slogan about "Take America Back," I wear my cap. You know, the bottom line is this: is that we sit here and talk. That's just like I'm trying to get this Hall of Fame built up. All this stuff we're saying right now need to be put on that touch screen where kids can touch it and hear us talk.
You know, Norman's jobs out here, but the problem is people don't know where to go look for the jobs. It's good paying jobs, it's union jobs, like I say, but you don't have people pointing them in the right direction. It's all kind of skill different jobs. But all of them other, not to say them, but they teach them kids to go over in the unions and get them on and make them good wages. I'm saying there's plenty of jobs out there, but we just don't put our kids in the right direction as far as they go.
That's right.
I sent a lot of people through the union.
Yeah. In this state here, we pay $11,000 for each student, but we pay $35,000 for people who are incarcerated. So do the math. That's 3 to 1. So the system is geared to place our children in the system. Now, awareness, because we are taxpayers here. Taxpayers, when you know what's going on, you have the ability to make sure that your tax dollars is going where it's supposed to go. So if we push for our tax dollars to be placed in our school system because our children are our future, then we won't have the conversation about why our children are not succeeding. Because the more you pour resources into them, the better there will be. The Carmen District is a $15,000 for each student. That's slightly a lot more than the city of Flint, which is $7,000 to the city of Flint school. So that means that I was at a school and a little girl had a book with her mother's name in it. That's how old the book was that she had. Her mother was 52 years old. So that's where it starts at, you know. And we have the people that's here. Every one of you are looked at as important in our community. When you hear Mr. Norman's voice, guess what? People listen to what you say. Mr. Bryant, when you hear Mr. Bryant, people want to hear. When you talk about Mr. Morrow, when you talk about Mr. Greer, people want to hear it, right? Because if you say, this is what needs to happen, somebody else going to say, yeah, let's do it. So that's what we have here. We have power to make a change. But it's about us to be able to think collectively about where we're going to put our money. We can talk all day, but where your money goes is what you are. If you ain't putting no money into the system or understanding the policies that affect our people, we ain't doing nothing. Thank you for allowing me to say something.
Well, that's you all right.
That was all right.
You all right.
You hit it.
Person. I was just trying to be a fly on the wall.
You gotta come up that wall.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm glad. Well, I've got a totally different story separate from sports. I've probably been the biggest basketball lover since I was a little kid. Growing up in Flint, sports was always available. You know, back then we had team clubs everywhere, open gym. Just for me growing up, it was more so just, you know, being lost, not having any strong father figures.
growing up in a single parent home, not a lot of money, you know, you just get distracted, you know, you don't maintain any focus. Gravitated to the streets, heavy, made some really poor choices, spent 11 years in prison, and I'm 17 years now, just tremendously blessed. You know, I have 3 degrees now, associates, bachelor's,
Oh man,
master's.
congratulations.
Worked at Mott College for 8 years, spent a short time at U of M Flint, worked at General Motors, program manager at Michigan Works in Oakland County now, so I'm truly blessed, you know, and I'm even more blessed by soaking up all of this wisdom.
That's right.
You know, that's what really, really, really empowers them. And not only does it empower me, it empowers our community, you know, because hearing Jeff talk about, you know, feeding the community, feeding our youth, that's significant, you know. That's how Flint revitalizes.
Absolutely.
You know, that's how we come back, you know, and he said it best, we gotta meet our young people where they are. And it boils down to economics, you know, what young people are dealing with socially now, you know, lack of food and sustenance in the home. I understand that, because those same things lack for me, which drew me to the streets, drew me to some poor choices. And if we don't catch our young people early on, they make the same mistakes that I made, which only, you know, brings the city down even more, because we need our community members here being good, responsible civilians, responsible taxpayers, and spreading the wealth like Mr. Bryant, Mr. Bobby, Mr. Marr, Mr. Big Pen, like Jeff. You know, we need our people to be out here giving back.
You know one thing, let me just say this too. Our biggest problem is, just like the young man was saying, about we need to determine that. See, they will not ever understand us until we put black history in our schools. Now, how many of y'all know about 9/11? How many of y'all know about 6/1/1921? See, this is what I'm saying. We don't even know ourselves, and they want to keep it that way.
No, they gonna do it.
They want to keep it that way. 6/1/1921 is when they bombed Black Wall Street because the blacks had their own businesses, their own Air Force. My family was in that mess. That's why I talk about it all the time. I had a relative that had a private airplane in 1921. In 1919, World War I was over with, but in the 20s, white people come over there, they weren't doing good as the blacks. We had everything we wanted because the dollar never left that community. We will not advance. See, after every World War, the black man always advanced. World War I, World War II. But we will not advance until we start putting black history in these schools. I learned in the 4th grade about Jacob Smith had a trading post down on Grand Traverse in the Flint River. Come to find out, my wife's great-grandfather had a barbershop on the corner of Curtin and Saginaw in 1870. But I didn't learn that. We need to put black history. We can talk all we want, but we need black history in these schools. We ought to demand that. And give a caveat. If you take black history, you get a free scholarship to a black college. We got to push this. We can't do it talking in the barbershop. We need some help.
Barbershop Talk, it teaches and uplifts, and it encourages. It encourages. That's kind of what it's designed for. It teaches, uplifts, and it motivates. It's motivation. You get all your ideas in the barbershop. I believe it starts here in the barbershop. I talk with Ruth Mott Foundation all the time. You'd be surprised, everybody downtown has seen Barbershop Talk. From City Hall to Mott Foundation to Ruth Mott. I got all of them phone number, and I texted all of them, sent all the information out.
That's good.
It starts here. And I'm one that once I get on something, I stay on it. I stay on it, just like you guys got here. I worry the hell out of a person, man. I worry the hell out of them. On top of it.
We do have to apply ourselves. Application is 100% everything. But it's a two-sided coin, because information is just as important. And if I was a little kid, if I knew about Mr. Bobby back then, that would have been so inspiring. That may have been that one story for me that like, okay, you know what, I can apply myself. I can maintain a certain level. So it's really a two-sided point. It's about application, but it's also just as much about information.
Yeah, I tried to get some younger guys here to hear the stories, to talk to the younger generation, let them know as men, to hear your story, to hear everybody's story, and as men, to ask them what can we do to help them succeed. Well, some people downtown asked me to ask that question to them, they're not here. But we gotta have this again. Charles, I didn't get Charles, you wanna talk?
Okay. I'm a Flint guy too, so I love this. I love it. I got a shirt made saying I love black because we need to come together. I grew up just like everybody else in the neighborhood, playing all the sports, football, basketball, baseball, all that good stuff. Never was good enough to, do the big deal, but that's okay. But when I did get a little older, I played semi-pro football. So I did that for 20 years, a long time. And so getting into semi-pro football, I've seen a lot. I traveled a little bit, it kind of helped me out a little bit. But now, I own a team. I own a semi-pro team. It's called the Flint Fury. The Flint Fury.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Sabres, we all the same, though.
Yeah. So from that, I seen a lot. So I reach these kids, and I see them at 18, 19, 20. And I see the problems that's going on. Because when I first started the team, it was just about football. But diving into the team is way more than football. So my belief was, if they was playing with me, they wasn't in the streets. That was my belief. But the last couple of years, I see a bigger need right now. So I've started a financial class. Like a beginner's financial class, because most of the kids I talk to that's on my team, they don't even know what a checking account is. And that's bad. At 19, 20, 21, you don't even know that. You don't know what a credit card is. You don't know what to do with it. And then half of us, young and old, don't even know how to take care of ourselves as far as health. So we also branched out and we got health and wellness program as well that I teach. So I'm giving my all for this city as well, just in a different way. But we all need to come together. And as far as like the finance thing, we need to keep our dollars here. Quit going to Walmart when you get your check. Go to the local place.
Support black businesses.
There we go. That's the only how we're gonna grow. We can't get into politics. We can't get into nothing unless we spend dollars with each other first.
Okay, I believe I remember when Mr. Norman Brand, he was saying that over at the library where I see that over there where they got all the athletes on the wall. They got all the athletes on the wall. Yeah, that's nice. You did that.
Well, see, the thing of it is that we need help taking people over. We need help and getting these kiosks together like that, But that's the thing that we don't get. And the other thing is now, I found it in the Hall of Fame because I had a guy by the name of Al Washington. Maybe some of you guys know. He was a painter, an artist. He played for Northern in 1928, one of the first black ball players. And when the White Hall of Fame had their Hall of Fame, he come run up to me. He never called me by my first name. No, he called me, "Hey, Brian." He said, "How come how come they putting all them guys in there, the white guys in there?" I said, "We made Flint." I said, "We had our own Hall of Fame, everybody be black, wouldn't it?" He said, "I never thought about it." I said, "We're going to get one." That's what motivated me to do that. Now, since I've done that, We got a store that they call a food co-op that's gonna be coming up on the north end pretty quick, owned by the community. You know, some people say, "No, you gonna join?" Yeah, I'm gonna join. How can I support a Black Hall of Fame and don't hold and support a black store? I'm talking out both sides of my mouth. So I'm gonna just tell you, I'm gonna just be honest with you folks. I'm gonna just be honest, okay, who in there? I just love my people. I love my people. And anytime you love something, you're gonna do the most for it.
But Norm, if you want to give some money towards your project, do you have a website to go to?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna give you a website. And you know one thing? I'm old school, but I got these young kids and they done I didn't do all this. Young folks doing this. Yeah. You go on there, anything you want to go on there. You trying to get an application, get in the hall. It's everything. But you see, they say I'm old school. But I'm letting them take a life. Just say you got to meet them at their level, what they do now.
Right, right.
And they know this thing, man. They know this stuff. Yes, sir.
So what's the ideal of meeting the kids where they're at? I mean, what's the next step to that? I mean, I'm really connected to what you're saying, the new sport is survival. And I really feel that, you know, being the landlord in Flint for the last 30 years, I've seen my community go from A to B to Z, you know, and my heart goes out to the kids, you know. When I came up in the 60s and the 70s, you know, cars come by, we stopped the cars because we were out in the street playing. You know, touching the street, tackling the grass. But as I cruise my neighborhoods now, up and down Flint, I said, where are the kids? And where are they playing sports at? And so, I mean, what would be...
That's what it is.
So, what would be our next step in, say, you know, organization or any ideal that, you know, how do we reach the kids? Or how do we, right here, reach the kids?
How many young men do you have? Go ahead, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Go ahead.
Well, this right here is a start.
Yeah.
Developing a mastermind. You know what I mean? Right here. This is a barbershop think tank. So everybody could get together and probably make a commitment and form some type of group, go around to the schools. He mentioned that he tried to get that the young guys in here. Nobody showed up. Right. Then he mentioned that a lot of young people not in school, but you can start in the schools and the churches. Right. You know, start getting the young folks together and with him with the with the Black History Museum and all that, and that's how you start reaching the youth. You know, going to the schools and calling them down and talking to everybody like as a group, and everybody sharing these same stories. I mean, coming up with some more ideas, but reaching them in that manner. You know, because you got a lot of them going to church. You ain't gonna reach everybody, but it's a start. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna start with the ones that's in the schools. You're gonna start with the ones in the churches. You can go to some of these juvenile homes. You know, you go to some of these missions. You know, different places, get together and doing things of that nature. You know, start one at a time. That's how it's gonna happen. You know? Other than that, you're not gonna reach it. And you know,
That's really the question I have asked you. How many young men do you have that's seeking for employment, that is trying to go out and find another way outside of, you know, getting a grow in their house or coming out on the street corners and doing the one game plan we can do? Let's say we have this barbershop. The next time, let's get another one. But everybody bring one young fella. And then let's sit down and talk shop. So no, you don't have to do it by yourself. But let's everybody put some hustle behind the hustle. Okay? Everybody bring 2 or 3 of them. And then let's sit down and collaborate together. Now here's the thing. We're black men, we're men in general. I'm not putting no color on this. Because it's a lot of folks in front. Come right here.
That's my line.
That's my line. But all I'm saying is black and white come out of food. What I'm saying is we bring them here, we come here, we talk about strategy, we talk about a game plan, and then we execute. Now, there's going to be a time in this whole thing where Mr. Brian and I, or Mr. David and I, Mr. Myra, we might not agree on everything. But it's okay to agree to disagree. That don't make us break up and stop doing what we say. The biggest problem in our community is that if it ain't what I feel it is, I'm gonna take my ball, and I'm gonna leave. That's what the problem is at with us as me. We don't come out and really share. Now, I'm one of the biggest culprits. I point and look in the mirror all the time. How can I do better? Jeff, what can you do better? To help bring about, get youth involved, help do certain things. And I stay to myself a lot.
Okay.
This right here was on the door for me. Now, when you called, and I was like, family,
I'm blessed to have you.
but you know, but this is really, really awesome to me. You know, because when everybody starts talking, not just me, everybody starts talking, it takes me back, and it makes me feel good and get that sense of pride. But that's awesome, the past. What are we going to do about the future? And you're exactly right. Let's put something together. And I say the first thing is, we start having conversations because you got a whole list of folks who wants to get involved. Okay? We can start there, but we don't get there first. We just bring people here first. Let them hear what we have to say. Bring the young people in. Let's get that group going first.
Financial literacy too. Like, we can get them employed. That's how come we're doing financial literacy. We can get them employed, but when they get their money, what they gonna do with it?
Right.
They'll be back to square one. So we gotta teach them what the system is.
Well, you know, I've
about money.
heard some employers say don't pay him because he won't come back the next day. You know? Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They don't know though.
Don't give them all this money because they will not show up the next day for work.
Good point.
Yeah.
When Grover Kirkland came to Northwestern, he was assistant coach at Northern. And they wouldn't give him the coaching job after Frieda left. Didn't want him to have. That's when they shipped him to Northwestern. This man messed around and had two Mr. Michigan basketball players, Calvin Talbot and Glenn Rice. Ain't nobody. He was the first one to win 600 games, but they didn't figure on that. They wanted to hold him down. They didn't want him at Northern. After Frieda left with them two teams, they did not want Grover at Northern. But they shipped him on up to Northwestern, and he made them all look bad.
Yeah, they want to know me.
Francis Bentley been around a long time too. I heard Bobby mentioned Francis Bentley saying wrestling about Francis Bentley. Mr. Brian, Brian got one announcement.
One announcement. I don't know how many of you been over to the library downstairs where we got 250 plaques. How many of you been over there?
I have.
Okay, well, my foundation gave the library this big lump sum of money, and they had an architect come in, so now we got to move because they're going to renovate the library and take our room down there. I want to get me a African American sports museum up on the north end somewhere. And if the Lord is willing and the creek don't rise, I'm going to make it happen. See, they do that to us all the time because we ain't got nothing.
Hi, everybody. My name is Charmel Allen. I am a manicurist, and I specialize in men, nails, and pedicures. So I hope to see some of you guys real soon on Saturdays from 12 to 7:30. I'll be here. And I will take care of your hands and your feet just the way you deserve, and I know you like it. All right, thank
that as well.